So welcome back to week 2 of This Week in Rideshare, the TWIR podcast done by Legal Rideshare, where Kim and I will evaluate how they are doing.
It sounds so weird.
I know, but it was a lot of fun. I thought last week was good. Hopefully we exposed some people, and hopefully this weekend we'll expose some more, because it is something people should be watching. I mean, there's a lot of people watching a lot of channels on YouTube. It's always under 20 minutes. It's nothing too time invested. They're not dropping things all week, and it's not law related. I mean, it is, but it kind of carries on the same theme of what we talk about on our programs.
Yeah, no, I really like watching it just because I get value out of it. And I love watching things that I get value out. And I think everybody should too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, guys, when we do these, I mean, like, obviously we could, but we're not. This is pretty close to, they drop on Fridays. I'm not sure of the time. I think I said last week, but I might be wrong, and it might even be a variable. I just know it's always early in the day. That's what I can say, is that early in the day on Friday it drops. I don't want to say a time, because maybe every week there's different things that they're handling, and it varies a little bit. But check it out. We're going to roll through this week. We're going to give our reaction to, they always cover 3 different topics. So we'll do the same thing we did last week and see what they're talking about this week. Let me bring them up. Excuse us, you guys, having a little bit of a screen sharing issue here. Blame it on StreamYard.
We just blame everything on StreamYard.
Right. So, okay. So there, now we can go. Okay.
And from Legal Rideshare, I'm joined by the co-founder and lead attorney, Bryant Greeny. Bryant, happy sunny Friday.
Happy Friday, Jared. Great to be back for yet another This Week in Rideshare.
Yet another this week. We had a nice little bump in viewers. A big thanks to Rideshare Rodeo for doing that. Love you guys. You guys are the best. And, it was hot topics last week. It's even hotter this week. We're going to get right into it. And this first one, although not specifically Rideshare, definitely gig related and something that we actually deal with. And this is kind of startling, Bryant. Half of all Amazon workers get injured. Amazon Prime Day sales offer a lot more than just deals, apparently. This is from Scripps News, and they reported, quote, nearly half of Amazon's warehouse workers are injured during its Prime Day savings event, a Senate committee's investigation found. The report states Amazon's total injury rate, which includes those in the company, which surprisingly is not required to disclose to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration during its 2019 Prime Day event, was just under 45 injuries per 100 workers. And that's only according to Amazon's internal data. And when counting only those that are required to be disclosed to OSHA, the rate was more than 10 injuries per 100 workers, which is more than twice the industry average. Brian, I got to say, you have brought this up. We have had meetings about this. Once again, I think you were on the forefront of really realizing that this is a serious issue. This is no joke.
Yeah, it is no joke. And what we're seeing is that workers are being placed in hazardous conditions. They're being placed in situations where they're forced to work too fast. They're being forced to do things that are, lots of heavy lifting, lots of quick movements, lots of repetitive movements, things that are known to cause injuries in the workplace. And why are they being asked to do these things? Well, because Amazon puts intense pressure on them all the time. And then in particular, during these Prime Days, sales go way up. There's all these deals. Demand is super high. And the companies don't bring in enough people to meet that demand. So the regular workers, the ones who are, working the typical shifts, all of a sudden have to work harder, faster, longer to put more money in Amazon's pockets. And I can rest assured here, they're not making more. The workers are not being paid more for their work. They're just being asked to work harder, and they're being injured as a result.
Now, I don't know if you know this, because when I was reading this article, they talk about right in the beginning here. It says, the company is not required to disclose a lot to OSHA. Do you know why that is? why they're able to skirt that?
Yeah, so a lot of injuries don't have to be reported to OSHA if they don't meet certain thresholds in terms of severity. OSHA wants to know about injuries that require hospital trips, deaths, serious injuries. But what we're seeing is that a lot of times there are more, minor injuries, for lack of a better word, that don't get reported, but still put the employee or the worker in a really tough position. A strain, a sprain, laceration, even deep bone bruises, things of that nature, they might not make it to an OSHA report, but they can keep a worker off the line. They can make it so that a worker loses hours or is just hurting. I mean, we need to take the into consideration the fact that there's real pain and suffering caused by these injuries. So it's a matter of severity in terms of when they're being reported to OSHA, but any worker who's injured needs to be accounted for. And what these internal documents are showing is that those numbers are actually quite high in comparison to the rest of the industry.
Yeah, and kind of as I mentioned in the beginning here, you were on the forefront of kind of this understanding how serious these injuries are with Amazon, similar in the way you were with the Uber and Lyft accidents. And in fact, you launched Amazon Accident, which is specific to deal with this sort of stuff. If you want to talk on that, because we have mentioned it in the past.
Yeah, so one thing about Amazon injuries is that there is actually a lot of recourse. A lot of Amazon workers are entitled to workers' compensation. If somebody else is to blame for the injury, say you're a delivery worker and you fall on somebody's property, there's a dog bite, you name it. If you are injured working for Amazon, there are many ways that you could be compensated for the lost time, for your medical bills, for the pain and suffering that you endure. So Amazon Accident, we created, you can visit amazonaccident.com to check it out, is in place to help those types of workers. Legal Rideshare has been doing rideshare related, gig related work forever. And we've now seen that Amazon workers are just as vulnerable, facing similar issues, and are absolutely entitled to and can receive compensation when the inevitable injury occurs.
Awesome. Yeah. And I just, like I said, obviously it's This Week in Rideshare, but that was too important not to cover crazy stuff. We're going to move on to the next article here. Also very interesting.
All right. Let me remove it. And we didn't pop back there. We popped back. Kim, what are your thoughts on that one?
Wow, I can't even fathom half of their workforce is injured. That is one crazy statistic right there. Am I right?
Well, it was 45 out of 100.
Hello. I don't care. That's horrible. Go, Steve. Go work for Amazon tomorrow.
I honestly, if you even at a normal business, I don't know if you would have I don't have any background with that kind of stat, and I would have said 5. Not for Amazon, but if you said how many workers do you think are injured per 100, I'd be like 5. Not 45.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm going back to my retail days and HR days. We always had to have OSHA posters up, but we had to report every accident. Even if someone cut themselves, we had to report it. And
because if they ever came back.
Yeah, it's a liability, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, you could have a paper cut, but all of a sudden they lose a finger in another accident, but somehow tie it into that. I don't know.
Yeah, I forgot
you
what
just
the
never
verbiage we had to use. If it was there was verbiage we had to use, and I can't remember what it is. If it was a non serious accident, say it was just someone bruised their arm or whatever, we would call it in. I can't remember what it was called, but we had to call it in differently than if an ambulance got called or someone went to the hospital. There were different levels, but
they were color-coded threat levels of lawsuits.
It probably could be. But I'll be honest, I learned something new. I did not know that Legal Rideshare covered Amazon as well. So
no, and I mean, who knows out of our viewers who works for Amazon, especially during the holidays. We know some that do, but
Yeah.
then the flex drivers too, because one thing that came up for me was when he said dog bites. I wasn't even thinking about that because that's probably, I mean, and again, I haven't asked Legal Rideshare, so hopefully their answer is yes to this. If not, I will come back and tell you guys next week. I'm sorry that I jumped the gun on this, but I would imagine dog bites are something they look into for you in gig work.
I can only imagine.
I mean,
I mean,
personal injury, right? So,
I've gotten close to like I've never personally had a dog bite me, but it's come close a couple of times that it kind of makes you pause and think about what you're doing every time you go up to someone's house.
but we know a handful of people in the community who have been bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that I know a few. I know one in California who's been out of work for months.
Oh, that's
Got
crazy.
really tore up. And yeah, to him, speedy recovery. And honestly, I hear a lot though from people, and some people just go about their day too. They're like, "Yeah, damn dog bit me," and then they're still working. but but I'm saying there's like, maybe that's worth a call. And I'm not saying to sue people for no reason,
Yeah.
but it's probably worth a call because again, like he was saying, like a bruise or something that might go kind of overlooked and then might become something. This is why you do preventative. The gig companies aren't looking out for you at all. In fact,
No.
they're looking to deny any type claims like this and try and pass it along to you. So if Bryant and those guys can give you better legal advice, I would say, why would you not take a free consultation if something happened?
Yeah. Take advantage of having someone like this in your corner. But just real quick, going back to the whole Amazon thing, like I get it's a busy time for them, but man, hire more people. Don't overwork the people you already got. Like I feel like it would be like Black Friday for retail, right? You hire up for Black Friday knowing that it's coming and you're gonna keep it's called temporary work. You keep a whole bunch of people on through the holidays and you let them go. It's kind to me it would be the same concept. Prime Day is coming, you know it's coming how many weeks in advance, like hire up, don't overwork your people.
But they over I mean, I know this firsthand too. That they do, I mean, they're known for overworking people.
I know,
I
but
mean,
that's my
even
thing.
here in the United States, like people always associate, sweatshops and things with out of this country, but really like Amazon are like, I don't, no offense to people who work for Amazon, but the stories I've been told make it sound very sweatshop like.
Scary.
I mean, I'm
So
sure
sorry
a
if
sweatshop
anybody.
scenario gets worse, but I mean, we've all heard the stories about pissing into a Gatorade bottle. That shouldn't have to happen.
No, well, I'm
I
sorry
mean,
for
that's
anybody.
unhumane, you know?
Yeah. I'm sorry for anybody who got or is affected or who got injured during Prime Days. Honestly, I didn't even order anything this year. I couldn't find anything that I'm like, "Oh, I have to have." Like, I
Yeah.
didn't order anything during Prime
Now
Days.
I won't ever again, now that I know people are falling during the
No,
Prime
it's
Days.
horrible.
But you guys, if you do work for Amazon, I didn't know about it either, I'll be honest. When Kim just said that, Amazon is it Amazon incidents? We'll make sure to put it in the show
Yeah.
notes, but if you have worked for Amazon, had an issue. But here, we'll move into the next topic.
Or 2 weeks ago, a new app aims to arm drivers. Now, this is from Chicago Business, and they reported, quote, the Black Wolf app launched in Atlanta in 2023 with the stated goal of making ride-hailing safer. Not only are the drivers armed, they're also all former military, police, or private security with at least 4 years of protective experience. Now, Black Wolf recently applied for an operating license from Chicago's Department of Business Affairs, which rideshare firms must be granted before launching in the city. Now, they did tell the Black Wolf's application did not comply with its instructions, and the company needed to be corrected. But they did say ultimately in the article, it's not a no, they just need to modify it. So, Brian, it looks like Black Wolf could very well be coming to Chicago.
Yeah, I'm on the record in saying I don't quite understand the concept of the company. I mean, I get that there's people feel uncomfortable in rideshare, and that is not a new statement. People feel like the safety is not up to par. we are of that stance as well. We wish that the companies were taking safety more seriously, that there were more mechanisms in place to create a safer environment for both drivers and passengers. Personally, I don't know that putting guns in the cars is the right answer. I don't think that this necessarily creates a safer environment. I think certainly the driver is going to feel more comfortable knowing that they're armed. But I don't know that the passenger feels necessarily more comfortable. This company is based on 1, armed drivers, and 2, drivers that have law enforcement backgrounds. We've seen plenty of situations where things go awry, regardless of the person's background, regardless of if they're, ex-military, ex-police, ex-teacher. It doesn't really matter where someone has been trained. I think when tensions escalate, when something goes wrong, anybody can find themselves in a situation that they might not predict. And knowing that there's a gun in the vehicle, adding a gun to the vehicle, I'm just not sure that it makes it a safer experience. I think that there are just too many variables and too many things that can go wrong. And when there's a weapon, things can escalate quite quickly. Now, you and I spoke before. I can see certain situations where, like as a courier, it would be really beneficial to have a weapon in the vehicle. Say you're driving, alone, delivering food in a neighborhood where there's lots of violence, and you might get carjacked. I can see that. Say you're delivering or moving valuable items like jewelry from one location to another. Certainly, that person needs to be armed. But putting 2 strangers in an armed vehicle together, I see a lot of problems.
Yeah, and it's also very interesting too, because as they say here, it's not just hey, we're gonna let drivers with a license to have a gun license be able to drive. It's they have to be former military, police, or private security, and they need at least 4 years of protective experience. So I can't imagine. I could be wrong, but I can't imagine the market is going to be that huge for that many drivers. It sounds very specific. It don't, like you said, it almost sounds like this is something that would be ideal for like sensitive documents being relayed, or like a lot of money or jewelry or something. I'm not really sure what the angle is, but I mean they're coming here, so they clearly think they're clearly growing.
Yeah.
I like you said, I just don't know where this is going to head or what's going to happen.
Look, I'm all for trying to innovate to a safer experience. We have said time and time again that rideshare needs to be safer, and it's up to the companies to come up with solutions. I would like to see technology being used, things like tracking, panic buttons that actually work. There are hundreds, thousands, millions of ways in which we can try to innovate to a safer experience. I'm just not personally of the opinion that putting guns in the vehicles is the best approach.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more on this. I mean, again, as I usually say with these articles, I'm sure we're going to hear more about it, and we'll just see. I mean, eventually it'll probably make it here, and we'll be talking about it. So we will see. Now, our final story did come out last week, but it is.
All right.
Okay, Steve. So what do you think?
Well, obviously, Kim, you know that this one interests me a lot because you and I have been talking about them probably I felt for even longer than a year, but I know since they started, we've been talking, or since before they started, we've been talking about them. I know they've had some success. I know they started in Atlanta, and there they had some success. I've wanted to have them on the podcast, the roundtable, anything we can get them on to talk to the guy. I think we should try a little harder, because a few things come to mind here. And these are the kind of things I would want to ask, is that I think that when he was saying, I just don't understand the model. So to me, the model is, I hope I say this right, I feel like it's based on fear. Like, because all of the rideshare rides that go bad, the drivers that get killed, or the passengers, I feel like Black Wolf was built on those articles. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, hey, you see in the newspaper every day people getting killed in rideshare, come over here and ride with us. But again, I hear every point they're making, like, First of all, like we were talking about last night, we had another fellow content creator who had said, he's in Arizona, and he said they were coming to Arizona too, and it's being challenged at this point. But I was like, what do you think about them coming there? He's like, I don't get it. He's like, we're all armed anyway. He's like, every rideshare driver I know already carries a gun. So it depends on the state, your carry laws, all that kind of thing. And to me, maybe I would rather just not know and just feel comfortable with my driver. If I feel uncomfortable, I can cancel the ride. If you feel uncomfortable with the passenger, you can cancel the ride. That's a perk that you have. So if you don't have those human skills to try and gauge somebody, and again, some will get by your radar, I'm sure. But I think that if everybody was a lot more aware, there'd be a lot less incidents. One thing I would say for sure is in Chicago, if they get there, I wonder what happens to Black Wolf if there's an incident, because we haven't seen one yet. What happens if like the passenger gets shot, the driver shoots the shooter, and there's a bunch of dead bodies, but nonetheless the passenger got killed? I feel like one of those and the model kind of sinks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I see both sides. Especially as a woman, it's one of the reasons why I actually don't do rideshare, is because I don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm not going to do something that isn't going to make me feel comfortable. And I think we talked about this probably a year and a half ago, that we could, when we first learned about it, we were joking, but we were kind of serious. We could see this being like a private security, or for like a celebrity who's traveling, like somebody who actually needs like that extra level of protection. But for like the everyday person, like we were like, no, I really don't see the need. That's why there's Uber and there's Lyft. I don't
Right.
know. I to your point, I think there's things that passengers and drivers can do that can avoid a lot of the things that happen.
And when I worked for the limo company here in Denver, we had celebrities and things of that nature. And again, it didn't make me have to be armed. But my point is that usually celebrities have people in a city they go to, like promotional teams, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, just hook it all up while we're there. They're not going to pull out the Black Wolf app.
No.
So your point about maybe it's good for a celebrity and stuff, yeah, maybe, but I don't think a celebrity's assistant would be pulling up the Black Wolf app.
See, and like it would never honestly work in New Jersey because we're a non-carry state. So they wouldn't, honestly, I don't know even know how they would come into New Jersey without a carrying.
Right. I mean, but I guess I'm pointing out a celebrity is going to pay 3 to 4 times what a Black Wolf ride's going to cost,
Maybe they're a
and really
C, or
have a much different level. I mean, maybe the car is bulletproof. I mean,
maybe they're a C or a D celebrity and they don't need quite that amount of security yet.
right. But then it gets to my point that most celebrities, I mean, we see this all the time. They themselves take Uber and Lyft. They don't
They
worry
do.
about it. They just use them.
They do.
So, I mean, go back in time, people. Before Uber and Lyft, people just got in cabs out of the airport. You just walked out, got in a cab, said, hey, take me here. Okay. Like there wasn't planning, there wasn't apps. You just walked out and hailed a cab.
Yeah. It would
So-
be interesting. God, I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but it would be, to your point, an interesting scenario if something bad did happen.
Especially in Chicago, when he was talking about that, I was thinking, gosh, they're coming in to kind of make it, again, building off that fear, because rideshare
Yeah.
drivers there are getting shot left and right, the passengers, all kinds of scenarios. And I just feel like, how is Black Wolf not going to get shot at? Like they are. Again, maybe the scenario turns out a couple times to the favor, but when there's gunplay involved, you never know what's going to happen.
No, I would like to see their pricing though. Like, is their pricing more? I'm assuming it's more because
It
the
would
level of
have to be
service
more.
you're getting.
It
So
would have to be more.
is that pricing worth it? I don't know. Obviously, to Brian's point, they are seeing some success because they're expanding. I guess it's just a supply and demand thing, right? So is there a demand for having this type of service in Chicago, I guess?
And the last thing I would say on it, are they, because we've seen other companies do this, are they trying to get into every state they can and then hope and pray that Uber buys them out just to get them off the map. Sometimes that is the play. Looking down the road, we have a niche.
Maybe. And
Whether
then
Uber uses it or not, it's, they still might buy them out just to shut them up. Who knows? But yeah, I think that there's way too many variables that we don't know about for this to be an app service that you open a phone and go, give me the armored car. So Uber and Lyft are surging. I'll just take the armed driver instead.
to your point, if we were ever to get them on, I would love to pick their brain and really understand,
because
their model.
no, that's why I want to get him on. It's not a gotcha thing. I think that he would explain it in a way maybe we would all understand it a lot better.
Yeah, because right now I feel like we're speculating. Like we don't have like the facts behind it.
Yeah, and what made him get into it, obviously security background, but what made him realize this was a space? Yeah, I mean, So Black Wolf, we're coming for you.
Don't come for us. We're coming for you.
Calling her the queen of rideshare mafia, one woman was responsible for creating thousands of fake driver accounts and ultimately made millions. This is from Wired, and they reported, quote, over the next few weeks, she would click through the driver onboarding process on both Uber and Lyft, reading over the steps to create her own account, mulling the risk. Finally, lying in bed on Christmas night, the first one she spent without her family, it was time. She opened her phone and scrolled to the blonde woman's license. She uploaded the license to the Uber app. She used the woman's name, but her own insurance and registration. She entered her iCloud email and phone number and set her own picture. Brown hair, brown eyes on the driver profile. She made up a fake social security number, submitted the application, and went to sleep. Boom, the next day, Uber approved the account. Like that, she was in business for herself. Yeah, you fast forward in the article and it explains the government said she pushed out some 2,000 accounts using hundreds of driver's license and profited more than $780,000. Brian, this story is a lengthy one. It's an incredible read. It's on Wired, going into detail about how she came to America with $100 in her wallet and ended up creating this just basically a legal fraudulent service and made a business out of it. Just nuts. Really crazy.
It really is crazy. It reads like a Hollywood movie. It's like a Catch Me If You Can almost.
Yeah.
But it highlights something that's really important. And we talk about safety a lot. We talked about it with the last article. When Uber and Lyft and all the other companies are not doing enough to ensure that the drivers that they're putting on the platform are who they say they are, it creates a huge safety hazard for rideshare in general. And it's not really just a driver issue, it's a passenger issue as well. We need to make sure that everyone is who they say they are, that the people are vetted, that we know that drivers are coming from a safe background. With passengers, we need to know their name, their identity, their contact information. They need to have a real payment. I'm blanking on the word, but they need to have a credit card that's assigned to their name. There needs to be accountability. One of the most dangerous things that we can do in rideshare is have a lack of identification, anonymity. We're pairing unknown drivers with unknown passengers. If one of them's unknown, it's a safety concern. So this story is incredible. It's the story of a woman who created so many fake accounts, made a boatload of money. Like you said, it's a really interesting read, but it's really scary in a lot of ways what she was able to get away with, because it puts everybody who got in her vehicle or any account that she was renting to another person, it puts those people at risk. And it just highlights that more needs to be done at the company level to ensure that people aren't slipping through the cracks time and time. And as this article shows, time and time and time and time and time again.
Right. There's something that's also sort of, this article has been covered a lot, but there's something that was really interesting about when I first read it and the beginning of it. So, obviously she didn't start out doing this. She was trying to be a driver, and as we've talked about, and all these drivers know, one of the first things that happened to her was she was deactivated. And so without due process, she had to find a way to survive. And so she found a guy that helped her with the fake account. And 90% of these fake accounts were due to like she was getting deactivated drivers. So yet again, without a fair process of deactivations, drivers will find a way. They will find a way to get back on the platform because it's their livelihood. So it's better to just do it the right way and have a due process than it is to just have them circumvent everything. And like you said, now we're in a safety issue. Things get crazy fast. And it's something we've talked about a million times over.
Right. No, there's very little protection for drivers, as you mentioned, with the deactivations. And oftentimes good drivers, people who don't deserve to be deactivated, are kicked off the platforms after they have made so many changes to their lives to be in that gig work. They've quit traditional jobs. They've purchased vehicles. They have made changes to their family structure based on the hours in which they plan to work. And once those opportunities, particularly the Uber or Lyft gig, are taken away from them, then they become desperate. And that's when we start to see fraud. That's when we start to see people taking risks like this woman took. And things really quickly can snowball. And this is just one example of how that occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild week, wild stories, I'll tell you that. Before we head on the weekend, though, I will give you the final say, and then we'll head off.
Yeah, we always remind everyone that Legal Rideshare is available for free consultations. Should you find yourself injured on the job, whether it be a car accident, a slip and fall, a dog bite, you name it, we can assist. We want to provide you the information that you need to set up a solid insurance claim. Make sure that you're collecting all the damages that you're entitled to, whether it's medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering. We want to put money in your pocket. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us, get that free consultation. And before I turn it back over to you, Jared, I do just again want to thank Steve over at Rideshare Rodeo and Kim at Kim's Side Money Plans. They are really helping us push the message, and we really appreciate everything they're doing.
Yes, you guys are awesome. Love you guys. Thank you again. And also,
oops, you guys, something happened there, but hold on. Thank you guys very much for those plugs. Those were very nice. But what they were talking about there when it got cut out, again, I wasn't able to download the video today, so we were streaming that live. But they were talking about the driver survey. So I think in both of our links, you guys can find this driver survey before we break down this piece, and take it, because you have an opportunity to win $100. And it helps them. It's just like taking any online survey, but you have a chance to win $100.
And it's free. It's free to take a survey. Take you a couple minutes. Enter to win $100. What's not to love about it?
Yeah. And also just keep branding that. But Kim, what do you think about this story, which actually ties into deactivations too? But
yeah. So there was I read the whole article. I actually read the whole article. Was a couple of days ago. There is a lot more to the story, and they got to the straight points of it. But it's not funny, but it's funny. Who thinks on Christmas Eve that, I think I'm going to start frauding Uber today, and let's start making accounts on Christmas Eve? Like,
I don't think she was thinking that, because she got here to this country with $177 and a free ride that didn't show. Like, but I mean, she became the kingpin of this. But
it's crazy to me. But this is proving what we've talked about so many times. Like, how easy is it to get an illegal account? How easy is it to, share your account? Like, they make it so easy. And this lady is proof on how easy it is. I mean, 2,000 accounts. Like, this is what we've been talking about for months now. And this is just proof that this is how it happens.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, and they said they've been talking about this forever. I honestly was thinking back. I honestly think when those guys and I were first talking, one of the things we were talking about was fake accounts. This is 2018. we were talking about this, but we were talking about it from the passenger perspective, how everybody could have, my name is Gold Teeth, and then their profile picture could be a pit bull. Like, this doesn't help me at all.
No.
I have no way of telling if this is really the person tied to the credit card. I don't, and this is from the driver perspective. This isn't safe. I'm surprised that like Uber and Lyft ever like thought it would be more fun and let's let them have handles and use any picture they want. Like, I don't know why from the beginning, because it wouldn't have misdirected people. People
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone, I don't want to use Lyft. They make you use your real picture. Nobody would have done that. Nobody.
No. When
But they made it a game and everybody started playing it. Like, oh, okay, I can top that.
Yeah, when I first started Uber, and this is back in 2017, 2018, somewhere around there was an order that came through, and the name on the order was I Love Women. That was their name. I know it sounds funny, but it was like 9 o'clock at night. I canceled that order so fast because I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking myself into. And I felt like it was a big security thing and keeping myself safe, especially at that time of night. I canceled the order because I'm like, no, I'm not delivering to someone that I don't know is real. And I think that's what it comes down to for rideshare, for food delivery, any of one of these apps. It's just not safe.
Yeah, try being a rideshare driver in 2019 and going to do a 3 a.m. pickup and it says "the man" and it's a picture of a like gold-plated grill.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what am I supposed to check his teeth? Demand, show me your teeth so I know it's you. Like,
Hey, you
I've already put myself into the sketchiest situation there is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to pick up, I absolutely have no idea who, I have no idea what their story is. I have no idea about them. All I know is that they have a picture of some gold teeth. It might not even be theirs and a fake name. That's all I know.
Yeah, I would love to pick Bryant's brain on his thoughts on these illegal and bot accounts, just to kind of see his perspective and have him shed some light from like a lawyer's perspective on really what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that we at least need to mention too, like the fact that she created all these IDs. How was she doing this? Because even the first one, like I read the article too. I'm asking because she's like submitting numbers that aren't even real.
No, she was
She's like
making them
making
up.
stuff up, and I'm like going, okay, well, okay, checker, where are you here?
It
Your
just proves
job is
that,
to like make sure that that's a real social security number, or
yeah, it just really proves what we all talk about, how horrible the background check system of Checker really is. Like, this is literally proof right in front of you that you can make up a social security number. Well, back when she did it, I don't know what it's like anymore, but literally anybody and everybody can just get onto these platforms if you just make up a number.
yeah. I'm I mean, I think they said it best there at the end too, which was, listen, if a driver gets deactivated and it's how they earn, they're going to get back on. So why not give them that correct due process? I mean, we talk about this all the time. Yes, why not just say why you're deactivated? You were deactivated for this.
Because it's too
Like,
easy.
even if you just put that out there, some people might go, oh, now I know what you're talking about. I actually did do that. And they might be the same people who say, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You never know. If the email came back correctly, you might go, actually, I did do that. I don't think it was as bad as they're saying, but
Yeah.
maybe you did. Maybe you
It
had a
could
little
be,
rudeness with a customer or something. I don't know.
or you can be like, oh, that's the house.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, nothing happened there. Or, oh, there was red flags all over the place. This is the vibes I was getting, even though I didn't do anything wrong. This is, you might remember having like a chat thread that they can look up. Like, there's so many things that you like, bells can go off in your head and go, oh my God, I know which one that is. Let me explain X. Like, you're just at this point when you do a deactivation, not that I've ever been deactivated, knock on wood, that like you're blindly saying what you think might have happened, but you don't know for certain because you don't know why you were deactivated. It's a guessing game.
Yeah, 100%. And also the fact that we know for a fact she sold 2,000. I thought she even, if I maybe I read it wrong. I thought she even did more. It sounded like just ridiculous because I know the amount of money she was making was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but regardless, it just shows that those of us who get, like, I know people who almost weekly, there's people contacting me who had a background check, like they've been doing gig work forever. They had a background check run, one of those like kind of yearly ones, and all of a sudden they're deactivated. And they know it's even because that'll even be because of the background check. So it catches people who didn't do anything, but it never ever catches people who shouldn't be on the platform. And I don't know why that is.
I don't know.
I mean, it seems like all the fake accounts get right through.
It baffles my brain that there's honest drivers out there who get deactivated all the time for absolutely ridiculous things that might not even be their fault. Some, I get that it probably is their fault, but there's innocent drivers out there. And then you have all these bot and illegal accounts that they're just working.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if to a good driver, and again, this is somebody who really did not do anything. If they got a thing saying, "Hey, this person made a complaint on you," you're an independent contractor, you have the right to know that. Okay, but if it's going to cause you to be deactivated, you damn well have a right to know exactly what's going on, have a say in it, be able to talk to somebody. And we all know why it doesn't happen. Uber doesn't want to pay for all that. Nobody wants to pay for that. Having actual people that would have to help people. So that's why there's legal rideshare, you guys. And if you ever, hopefully nobody here ever needs them. Hopefully nobody ever needs them. But if you do, legalrideshare.com. You can email help@legalrideshare.com. You can get free consultation. Look, they're out of Chicago, but they can represent everywhere. They have all the connections. They've been around for a long time. Myself, I've known them for a long time. They're just really great people. And thank you both to Jared and to Bryant for giving us the shout out. That was really kind of nice. So obviously they're watching too. So you guys keep watching their channel.
Yeah,
go their channel
and go to their channel first of all. Give them a thumbs up on this live that we literally just went through. Make a comment saying Stephen Kim sent me, whatever you want. But first, subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff, and take the survey so you can enter to win.
Yeah, what she said. So you guys, we will see you back here on This Week in This Week in Rideshare podcast replay review. So these are fun. I mean, so to us, these are fun too. So check out Legal Rideshare. The link's in the show notes below. And if you do take a screenshot of this, and there you go. There's your business card. But yeah, thank you guys. And we will see you back here next week.